Hello, VC. Roger here. Going to put my hat in the ring for the 2022 Final Community Robert Zee Lottery. This is going to be my entry. I am a volunteer. I do have the letter T, and so I will be sending something out to somebody. But if you're not familiar with it, I'll leave a link below to Bobby's video about the Final Community Lottery, and you can get more info about it. It's definitely worth your while to check it out. It's a great deal. It's a neat thing. Get involved. I think you'll like it. One of the stipulations Bobby wanted us to do was wear green. So I'm wearing my dad's old military army shirt in honor of him and in honor of all you guys that served. My hat's off to you. Appreciate your service. Also, got me a little green tea here. I don't drink beer, so I got my green tea. And I'm eating some green M&Ms. How's that? All right. Let's get into this thing. I've said before in a couple of videos my history, but I'll go into it again. I was raised listening to music. My dad was one of my biggest influences. He had music. He had 45s. He had albums. He had mainly country albums and show tunes. And 45s, though, he had some of the early rock. He had some Elvis. He had some Everly Brothers. He had some Bo Diddley, Ricky Nelson. That's the ones I grew up with in the rock side of it. Country-wise, like I've stated before, Marty Robbins. Loved Marty Robbins. And it's because of the influence of growing up listening to Marty Robbins as a kid. Pretty much, my dad, everywhere we went, he had the radio on. So I listened, and it was usually country radio. So I grew up listening to the country radio. As I got older and started interacting with older kids, and my brother got up old enough where he was buying a few things, I started getting a little bit of some rock and roll here and there. My biggest influence past my dad was probably my friend from junior high. Well, actually, we met the first day of school in first grade, and we were friends up through junior high when my family moved to a different town. And that's Daniel. And I've talked about Daniel before. He introduced me to so many different artists. He really got me into Kiss. Just Aerosmith, Kiss, Aerosmith, Elton John. Trying to think who else were the biggies that he introduced me to. Probably Led Zeppelin. I don't really remember that. For some reason, Aerosmith, Kiss, and Elton John are the three that really stick out in my mind. But anyway, Daniel, I don't know where he heard them from or how he got to listening to them, but he introduced them to me. And from there, that's where my window exploded into the other world of rock and roll. As I grew up, got older, I went through all different artists, had favorite artists at different times. Once I got up probably about the early 90s, I was married, had kids, working. My record buying kind of stopped. Up to that point, I bought records here and there. There were a few artists I was into. Kiss. When I really got into Kiss, I was buying Kiss stuff whenever I could find it at that point when I was a kid. And then I got into Jimi Hendrix, and I started buying all the Jimi Hendrix I could find and get a hold of. But then, like I said, at that time, then I started buying just occasional artists that I like. I'd buy one of this artist, one of that artist. So I picked and choose and grabbed a little bit of everybody. And my taste is very eclectic. It ran the gamut. I mean, I'll listen to stuff from uh, Black Sabbath to Ted Nugent to Barry Manilow to trying to think. Then, well, like I said before, into the country to Marty Robbins. I even listened to some bluegrass. Uh, so there's it ran all over the place. In the '90s, though, like I said, I was married, had kids, working, had bought a house, barely making ends meet. My record buying stopped. I quit buying and did buy an occasional CD once CDs started hitting. Well, first I bought cassettes, and then when CDs started coming out, and once the price started dropping on them, I started buying a few CDs. But I was buying the cassettes of country because in the '90s I got into country, got into the Vince Gills and uh, Ricky Van Shelton, Tracy Lawrence, Little Texas, that type of country. Uh, then in the when my kids got up where they were starting to listen to music, they'd talk about somebody and want to listen. And there was a couple of them I liked, and I went and bought some of theirs for them, and I enjoyed them. And then it just kind of tapered off. There again, we moved to a different town again, and didn't really have a lot. I say a lot. I had a couple of hundred records, 200 or 300, and that's what I listened to. That and the radio, and then like I said, I'd bought cassettes and CDs, and so I was really listening to them. And until one day, my wife and I were going to go on an anniversary trip. She wanted to go to Canton, Texas. Canton, Texas has a deal they call First Monday. The first Monday, the weekend of the first Monday of every month, they have a. I think at one point it was called the biggest yard sale in the world, maybe even in Texas for sure, and maybe even all the U.S. Not the longest one. I know there's that one that runs through Georgia, several states over Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee and stuff. That's they call the longest one, but this was in one location, and I don't know how many hundreds of acres of land that vendors come in and they set up their stuff and sell like a yard sale. And we were kind of curious about it, and so I got to looking on the internet one day and found some videos about Canton, Texas First Monday. So I was watching those, and in one of those there was a guy searching for records, and that's all he did. And I thought, oh, piqued my interest. I knew where I was going to go once we got there, and so I started looking, and just through him, and I can't remember the guy's name offhand. I haven't seen any more videos from him in ages, but he was the first one I ever saw that was doing record videos, and he did two or three maybe, and then he through that watching his, I started seeing these other people doing videos about their record collecting, and then come to find out, I started hearing that term, the VC, the vinyl community, and man, I was just enthralled with it and watched and watched and watching for several years. I watched videos, never made one, and then finally uh, I had several people make comments on my comments that I ought to post a video. And I thought about it for a year or two, and then finally I broke down and made one, and been at it pretty much ever since then. I did take about a year and a half off there because of work and everything else going on, and didn't buy a whole lot. But I'm back into buying a little bit. As far as my buying habits, I do a lot of estate sales. Uh, Garage sales, whenever I can find them. A lot of times, garage sale stuff's pretty trashed, but the estate sales usually have a little bit better vinyl in them. As far as going to stores, uh, the only local one that sells new records is Endless Horizon, and they're out of Odessa, and they sell new and used. And one of my earliest records I ever bought was when I was in high school, and we were at Odessa for one act play, and this record shop sits right next to Odessa College there. And so during a break one day, me and a couple of buddies went over and we checked out the record store, and I bought one. I bought uh, Blackfoot Strikes, and that's where I got into them. Then here recently, this store opened up, Vintage Deluxe, which has used records. They had been around a while from at another location, but I just never knew anything about them until basically they moved to this location and started printing these cards and stuff. And they have real good used records. Then the other place go to is Stanton, Texas, which is not far from me, to Backstage Pass, which he does a lot of. His is strictly used records. And when I get the chance and I go to Lubbock periodically, I do go to Ralph's Records in Lubbock, or Josie Records. And I know Josie has a store or two in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex as well. So I think Chris was telling me about or I've heard him talk about going to Josie's a time or two. But anyway, that's kind of my collector. That's where I buy from. I have bought a handful online. I hate buying online a lot because two things. One, I do live in West Texas. A lot of times they get put in a big mailbox box, and if it's there's sometimes we don't get to go check it for like 2 or 3 days. And temperatures in West Texas get up to, in the summer, it's not uncommon to hit the upper 108, 109, 110 degrees. So you can imagine what that's doing to a record in a mailbox. So that's one reason I don't. If I know one's coming, I try to make sure I check it real regular. But still. And the second thing is, the post office out here is terrible. It's nothing for us to get mail from people 2 or 3 blocks over, or people coming and knocking on our door and saying, hey, we got your mail. So I'm not always positive if I order something that I'm going to get it strictly because of the post office. But so I don't do a ton of online buying. If I do, I've decided I'm going to start trying to ship it to my parents' house. They live in town. I live out in a little bedroom community out in the country. But hopefully, if I do that, maybe they'll get it. I think they're pretty good about getting all the stuff that they want to get, or when they order stuff. Another thing, I know part of the people have been talking about being a completist. I am and I'm not. For the most part, I'm not a completist. There are a few groups that I, through the years, have bought and bought and bought. And next thing I realized, I only had one or two shy of having their entire catalog. So I thought, yeah, I'll go ahead and get it. That way I'll have it. And then have bought as they've released since then. And it's not, and that one, the main one of those is the Eagles. Y'all all know I'm a big Eagles fan. And I've started buying some of their offshoot, the solo stuff and previous groups they've been with, and stuff like that. Then the other is Linda Ronstadt, and hers is more of a completist, as in different formats, different pressings. I should say, not the formats, but different pressings. And it was one of those deals. I bought 2 or 3 different lots of records and found out, well, I didn't need 2 of them out of there because I already had them, but I needed the other 4. And it was cheap enough, I didn't care. So I went ahead and bought them. Well, come to find out, when I started, and I thought, well, maybe this one's a better pressing or better condition than the one I had, we'll swap out or whatever. Well, come to find out, I'd get them in, and it was a different pressing. It was a reissue or something. One would have the rainbow label on it. The other one would be a green label. One would be an orange label, whatever. And so I was like, wait, these are different. And so I started reading and finding, and didn't realize it till that point that there was all these different pressings out there. And so, I thought, well, shoot, I'll just keep it then, since it's a different pressing. And next thing I knew, I had multiple pressings of nearly every one of her records. So I'm close to a completist on that side, on her, but beyond that, I'm not really a completist. And I don't care that I have everything of hers. 45s, I don't really go out searching for 45s of hers or the Eagles or anything like that. But anyway, that, I guess, as far as that part of it, yeah. So take it as you want it. I'm a completist on some I'm not. As far as protecting my records, let me back up a minute too. When I started really getting into the records and stuff, I wasn't a big time collector. Like I said, I bought here and there. I was not aware of some of the places. My guide to records was Goldmine Record Catalog. That's where I got in and searched and looked for and found what records were in there, what records an artist had. I didn't even have a clue what some of the artists had. I relied on Goldmine. And then later, I didn't know about Discogs. The VC, you guys introduced me to Discogs. So when I found Discogs, my mind exploded. I was like, wow, there's all of this other out there that I was completely unaware of. So that was just a great teaching to me, something to find out for me. And as far as protecting the records, I never had put any sleeves or anything like that. I didn't know about that. And, my dad, his records always looked great. So I didn't worry about sleeves until I got to talking to some of you guys and seeing your comment. But I started buying these 3 mil bags from Bags Unlimited. I do not do the inner sleeves, or as of yet I haven't. I know you're probably going to jump me on that, but that's fine. My dad, like I said, he's had records that are from the 50s that still look brand new, and they're in the paper sleeves. You pull them out, and there are very little to no scuffing on them. So I understand there's some of you guys that are just a purist that want it extremely precise and clean, and that's fine. Go for it. I'm not that critical on mine. I've yet to see mine have any issues with in and out of the sleeves. So I've just not put in the extra expense to go that route. One day, I'm sure I will. And I've thought about it lately, about doing it, but I've just not done it at this point. I guess, let me show you my room here. I don't have a lot to show. My record room is our spare bedroom. So we call it my room, but it's also the spare bedroom if we have guests. Guests get to stay in the music room. So, so here we go. Let me get this off of here. You always see me standing here. Well, I'll turn and start right here. Let me turn this light off. that's some records and CDs I have. The Styx is an autographed CD by the members of Styx that I was able to pick up at a concert. Got to see Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie and had this record that was signed that I bought there, which is very good. Try to get this where there's my reflection. One of my favorite Eagles records right there on the, or one of these nights. Sheet music. I'm not really a big sheet music guy. I can't play a piano or a guitar or anything like that. I do play drums, but I do have some sheet music. And I found that one at an estate sale one day, and I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. I'll get that and hang that on the wall. You've got to hide your love away. I kind of like that picture on the front and everything. And then I've come across that one, and I like the old Bing Crosby, Bob Hope road shows. So I thought, well, I'll pick that up as only 25 cents. Back up, here's my cork board. It's got a little bit of everything on it. This stuff right here, Thor, that's a little Thor that my grandson made me out of Play-Doh or clay, and this is an Iron Man. One day he was talking about comic books and everything, and we told him that my favorite one was always Thor, and so from then on they started finding little Thor items and stuff to give me. So Hot Wheels, I'm not really a big Hot Wheel collector, but came across this one, Led Zeppelin 4 Hot Wheel. This is probably the first one. My daughter got this for me, or found it one time at Walmart and bought it and brought it home and gave to me, Peter Criss. One day I found this one, Yellow Submarine. Then about a year later, I found another one. The Hot Wheel, the submarine inside is basically the same, but the packaging's different. Back when I was in high school, I did buy a few buttons. That right there, of course, is my wife, Sissy. Then B-52s, Peter Criss, Queen, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Crocus, Judas Priest. Some of these pictures, I think I've showed y'all this one before. That is my dad with Jim Reeves and Ferlin Husky. I thought that was pretty cool, and I've always cherished that. One year for Christmas, I had gotten rid of my drums and everything, and the family all pulled their money together and got me a new set for Christmas one year. And at the same year, we bought my grandson a little set. And so that was me and my grandson at Christmas playing drums. And he was copying me with his headphones and everything. Now, he is 13 years old. So that shows you how far back that was. So this is from the Buddy Holly Museum in Lubbock. And there's my son and his two boys. This is the one that was playing drums with me right here. I do collect football cards. This is a J.J. Watt rookie autograph card, graded 9.5. But anyway, here at the top is my music books. I love reading autobiographies and biographies about artists. There's an old radio that was my grandparents'. That radio right there is kind of special. Whoops, sorry about that. It's kind of special. I have a picture of me getting my first haircut when I was about a year old, and that radio was sitting in the background on the cabinet, on the countertop. So I always thought that's kind of cool. Anyway, this is some of my different books I have. This was an old one that my dad came up with somewhere and gave it to me. Old radio. Kiss Pez dispenser, Kiss root beer. Cups from Circus Olay Beatles Love performance in Las Vegas. There's my original snare drum. Oh, get everybody all messed up there. Here is my rock. This, starting here, this is all my rock and pop. Of course, I've got them divided. Got just little paper dividers. I'm going to get me some good, or make some good dividers for it. But anyway, I've got, starting up there, comes all the way down. And that goes through, I don't think I finished peas. That's right, the middle of my peas are right there. These 3 record boxes down there, one of them is just memorabilia and stuff I had from when I was a kid. The middle one has some is Christmas records, and the blue one is what I keep my sleeves in. Down here on this shelf, as you can see, is my Eagles books. From here over is all Eagles or Eagles related. From here over is my Linda Ronstadt collection. These are some Doris Day 7-inch box sets. A couple of Beatles 7 inches that came with a t-shirt from Target that I picked up one time. I have 3, 4, 5, 6 of these cans with 7 inches in them. That's all my 10-inch records there. Again, 7 inch. There's my catalog for 45 RPMs. I don't really have a setup for my cassettes, so I've got a box there, a case there. That's a case right there of them. That's just some puzzles of the Beatles that I picked up. Here are my box sets, which I don't have a bunch of them. This right here is my Elvis collection. That is a drawing my grandson gave me one year. This is Beatles and Beatles related. And right there, just a little bitty thin spot, is Buddy Holly. Get back over here real quick. My stereo system. Couple more books. Big bands, which includes jazz and rock encyclopedia. Rock encyclopedia is pretty cool, except for the fact it goes through 1969. So, I mean, it's got a bunch of the early groups, but nothing later. This is cassettes, or CDs, I'm sorry, that I have, that I listen to most often. Here's a Techniques that I picked up. I picked up this Techniques receiver, this Sony cassette player, dual cassette player, this 6 CD changer, and this Techniques turntable, plus the Techniques speakers at an estate sale for $100. So that's my stereo system set up. That's a slip mat I got from my good buddy Linda Legg, Andre. So then, like I said, over here, there's some more books I just finished. I don't have a place to put them, so I just stacked them right there for now. Back up here, here's the rest of the peas, all the way down. here to here. Starting here is my country that goes through there and all the way to here. Starting right there is soundtracks that go to the end there, and from here over to here. This is jazz books, a couple of jazz books I got, and then this is the jazz big band there and across the bottom here. This is another cassette holder and a couple of the pop rocks guys, the only ones I have. A lot of my work is up and down the railroad right away. This is just stuff I picked up along the right of way. I think it's kind of neat. Various things. I'm a pack rat, I admit it. Me and my daughter went and saw Brett Floyd, and I got this poster and had them all sign it. You can see some of the autographs, different spots. Ooh, that's got a bad glare. Anyway, there. This is some of the pictures I took while I was there at the concert. My ticket. That was a great concert. Pink Floyd never came to West Texas. So getting to see Brett Floyd, these guys were excellent. If you have not seen them, if you've seen Pink Floyd, you probably wouldn't care about them. But since I never saw them, I saw Brett Floyd, and these guys were awesome. I can't imagine seeing Pink Floyd. Anyway, like I said, this is our guest bedroom as well. There's this down here is my bow. I do archery. Not worth a flip at it, but I do it. On here, some more bottles and stuff I picked up along the right of way. There's my, I'll just walk over there. You see some of my bottles and stuff I've picked up along the way that I thought was pretty cool. That's a picture of my grandparents and all of their kids at their 50th wedding anniversary. Deer I got. And before you jump on me, don't worry, I ate him. I kill it and grill it. These are some arrowheads I found. Bobby Gas, you'll probably like those. I thought they were pretty neat. This radio was my grandparents, my mom's parents. Here's some the disc records, or cylinder records, I mean. Old turtle shell I found, I thought was pretty cool. Glass, or a cup my daughter gave me that was Woodstock. Only thing was, she got it shipped and the handle was all busted on it. I glued it back together. I thought, well, I'll put it up for display. This right here is a bunch of my old stereo equipment. I just keep it put aside. This at the bottom here is my original, my first stereo, and it was a JVC that was a great, I loved it. But I've started losing one of the channels that decided they want to come and go on it, so I kind of shut that down. And that's just another old turntable that I got given to me. So, like I said, I am a Houston Texans fan as well. There's some of my Houston Texans stuff. That's a football that I won for picking the score on a Super Bowl one year. This is Chicago poster. Got autograph of all the members of Chicago on it. Pretty cool. Got to go see Chicago. Here's my ticket for that. Just a couple of 7-inch records, sleeves anyway. So, but anyway, well, that's it. I'll just do this to end this thing. I hope this will work for you. I've enjoyed this. It's been a great time. If you haven't got into the lottery, go make you a video. I will attach below Bobby's link to his video explaining it all. Go to it, check it out. You'll really enjoy it. I think it's a great deal. Talk to Rod, the happy hippie guy. Man, he can tell you what it's like to be the winner. He won this thing last year. So anyway, that's it. Y'all have fun. Keep up the collecting. Enjoyed it. And see you next time.